Hello and welcome to Verbal to Visual. Today I would like to share with you a simple way in which teachers can start sketchnoting in their classrooms, both as an instructional tool and as a skill to share with your students, to help them get a feel for what visual note-taking is all about, what it could look like, how they might use it themselves. Now, this isn't an entire revamping of the way that you teach. Instead, it's an opportunity to use sketchnoting in a small but growing way. Start by setting aside a chunk of board or wall space. This will be a dedicated spot in your classroom to highlight some important ideas, specifically using sketchnoting. Once you've set aside that space, select a heading for the set of ideas that you'd like to share there. So this could be the key ideas of the current unit, maybe some new vocabulary, or maybe even the core principles of your discipline, the concepts that you really want to hit home throughout the entire term or year. Below that heading will be a space for you to sketchnote out those ideas. Maybe one new idea a day or one new idea a week, depending on the role that you'd like it to play. For each idea, I encourage you to keep it fairly simple. Start by coming up with an icon, a diagram, or a scene for each idea. This is a place for you to demonstrate different types of visual representations that students might start using within their notes. These images can have a range of complexity. So just as examples here, we've got a compass, a Venn diagram, a factory, and a flow chart. And then alongside each of those visuals, include a single sentence text description for each of them. So with the combination here, you've got the visual as sort of a shorthand reference to the idea, and then within the text is where you've got more of the details. And once those have their dedicated space on your classroom wall, you can then reference those sketches and definitions throughout the week or the unit during class discussions. They're things that you can literally point to as you say something like, and how does that relate to this idea here? Or how might you interpret that event through the lens of this key idea? In that way, this dedicated space for visualized ideas can become part of the conversations that you're having from day to day. And I think that type of integration can help your students internalize those ideas and hopefully think about them in more complex ways because of how they're applying them over time. And as you move from one week to the next or one unit to the next, you can either snap a photo before erasing the board and starting the next set of ideas, or if you're using a large flip chart, pull off that sheet, store it for now, but know that you can bring it back up for review later on. I've heard from some teachers that after connecting core ideas to simple visuals, they'll often see those visuals show up in the margins of tests or essays. And once students have seen the way in which those simply sketched ideas help them, they're primed to start creating them on their own within the notes that they take for this class or for others. It's that type of transfer of this core skill of sketchnoting that you might be able to kickstart with this simple approach here. So I encourage you to give it a try in your classroom. And of course, feel free to tweak it however you see fit. And if you'd like a deeper dive into how you might incorporate visual note-taking into your classroom in a little bit more integrated of a way, then check out the resource kit that I've created called Sketchnoting in the Classroom. That's got a lot of short videos and practice activities that are built to be used in your classroom right before you jump into the content for that day. You can learn more about that resource kit via the links down below. Good luck as you try out these ideas in your classroom, and I hope you find them useful, both for you as an instructor and for your students to start breaking out some basic drawing skills again and see how the tools of visual note-taking might play a positive role in their current and future academic pursuits. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Till then.